Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer video. Once again we're looking back at yesterday's blog post because there is a bit of information that we need to discuss regarding Kislev and possible DLC in the coming future, as there seems to be a few hints. The roster reveal itself was met with a mixed reception depending on the person, and a lot of arguments were happening on Reddit and the forums and so on, but it seems that we've all missed one thing, where Creative Assembly were clearly hinting, or at least it looks like it, to future DLC for Kislev. Now we can already expect DLC for Kislev as they're a faction with only 2 legendary lords, but let's look at this further. You'll notice something here at the last entry for Little Grom. Kislev is not known for massed infantry. In fact, at many points throughout its history, the Boyars and Druzhina have been expressively forbidden from maintaining their own. And there exactly is the hint. Boyars and Druzhina. Boyars, as we are aware, are a lord choice when it comes to the Kislev roster, but the Druzhina themselves are not in the roster whatsoever, which is rather interesting because, well, they're mentioned, but they're not included, and the Druzhina themselves are part of Kislevite society. So what exactly is a Druzhina? And I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing this, but we have a small lore entry regarding what exactly they are on screen right now. The Druzhinas are the lowest rank of formal nobility among the Gospodars. Many Atamans hold this rank. An Ataman is someone who leads a small settlement, by the way, as do a significant number of Rota Masters. The rank is traditionally hereditary, but the Ice Queen has recently started making individuals Druzhina for life in return to the great service to the Tsarina or to the state, or for financial contributions. She has even extended this privilege to some Ungols, which has created some discontent among both the Gospodars and other Ungols. Katerin often uses the rank of Druzhina to reward influential individuals who publicly affirm and support her power and authority. These rewards are almost always for life, but she has occasionally granted a Druzhina the right to pass the title on to his heirs. So that's the little lore tidbit, but that's not actually everything. You see, the Druzhina was a character that could be used in the Warhammer Fantasy game known as Mordheim. Essentially, the Druzhina was the Empire Captain clone, but just a Kislevite of course, where the Boyar was the Kislevite equivalent to an Empire General. So we're already very much expecting that the Kislevite Boyar is going to work in that way, and we are going to expect the Druzhina eventually. They've already mentioned it, but it isn't part of the roster so far. It's likely that this will be part of a future DLC. Now, of course, there are a few things to discuss. Firstly, why mention Druzhinas if they're not going to be part of the roster? It's absolutely confusing to me, as normally when it comes to something like that, if you hear about them, you're going to expect them, aren't you? Personally, and with complete honesty, I have no problem with Kislev DLC being released in the future. In fact, we are all expecting it, because again, we only have 2 legendary lords, so some extra ones are to be expected if they want to do loads of cross-game DLC involving all the factions, because so far, Kislev has 2, Cathay is expected to have 2, and the rest of the ones are expected to have 1, as Khorne only has 1. Though, if they're hinting about this, and, you know, the game hasn't even been released yet, in fact we don't have a release date, it's a tad disappointing. The only way I think this could be spun in a positive light is, of course, we know we're getting more stuff, so we don't have to be so focused around the fact that it's a lot of bears everywhere. The Druzhinas could be introduced with some more Ungols, as I've said before, and a few other units which were available in Mordheim too. Some of them have already been implemented, however, but there's some decent ones, like for example the Bear Tamer and some Wild Bears. Yes, that's a lot more extra bears, but it kind of makes sense for the Ungols to use some more feral monsters. The first DLC involving Kislev would also be the perfect time to introduce stuff that we're missing for the Ungols. Yes, I'm saying this once again because it seems that the Ungols aren't represented as much in this roster. I'm of course referring to stuff like Hags with the lore of Hags and so on, which, yeah, okay, we weren't expecting 3 unique laws of magic for one race at the very beginning, weren't we? Any extra laws of magic, it makes sense for them to put it behind a paywall with a DLC, because DLC in Total War is quite prominent, isn't it? Not as much as other companies, so it's not like we're actually paying through the roof all the time, but I still find it incredibly weird that the Druzhinas were mentioned but are not part of the roster. It could very much just be a slip-up by Creative Assembly staff, whoever wrote the blog post, because yeah, these things do happen. In fact, they have changed some stuff in the blog where now they say that one of the characters also has a shield, but I don't know, this just seems way too on the nose. Forgetting an item, yeah, possible. But mentioning a character, I don't know, that just seems a bit too weird. Recently they did mention that they want to rework Norsca, and to be honest, a Kislev vs Norsca DLC could be quite good. If the Game 2 cycle is anything to prove by, we aren't expecting any proper Lord Pack DLCs until post-release of the Immortal Empires map. So Norsca vs Kislev could be a pretty good cross-game DLC in all honesty, as, well, they're both very close to each other. The Immortal Empires map would already be out there, and it could prove to be something quite cool to have enemies so close to each other. Of course, this is pure speculation, but it just kind of feels like everything's falling into place. The mention of the Družina is super weird, and Norsca itself could be a decent enemy against Kislev. Thematically it works rather well, as historically in lore they've always been known to be at each other's throats. Again, pure speculation, so we're gonna have to wait and see. It seems way too soon to be able to start hinting at DLC for Game 3, but you never know, the marketing strategy has been kinda weird lately, hasn't it? But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, especially about everything regarding the Družina, because, yeah, like I said, I'm confused. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our fame level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our king level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.